what I'm doing now is just using my using a wire brush. Right, I'm going to be using a wire brush to get rid of some of this carbon off the back of the valve, and I'm just going to be going over the face of it as well, just a little bit. My setup's a little dodgy. It's my bench grinder likes to vibrate and it wants to go off the table, so I'm going to be holding it with one hand and being very careful with the valve, and being very careful not to get around that top part there, because that's where it seats on the in the valve seat. So yeah, here he goes. Also, probably good to mention, don't go up past where you can see the color changing. It'd be best even to just don't even get close to it. Like go maybe like 5 mm from where the transition from the blacker part to the nice smooth part is. You can just use your fingernail to scrape off any extra, but yeah, so that's sort of how it comes up. Nice clean finish. Then I'm just going to put them in now just to make sure it doesn't look too bad. So I'll take them out again after to lap them, and then I'll put them back in as I go, sort of thing. So yeah, I just got a bit of engine oil and squirted it on there, and then I'm just going to put it back down in there, and it should go in without too much force. Lovely. Alrighty, so I've got my drawer full of valves here, and I got my cylinder head ready. I gave it a quick little clean. I've got it orientated so that the timing's on the left hand side here, as well as what I've written down on my cardboard box that I put the valves in. The timing being here where my thumb is, the intake side and the exhaust side at the back. The intake side is on that side, but if it was flipped upside down, that would make more sense. I'm going to start with an intake valve, number 1. What I found easiest was to stick the lapping tool on first. That just worked for me. It might not for everyone else. I'm only going to give you one example here. I think that should be enough, because I'll post a link to a video that was much more informative than what this is going to be. This is just so you can see that it's been done on a 1NZ and by an absolute novice, so that's pretty cool. This lapping compound that I've got, it's water soluble and it thins with water too, so I just put my finger in a bit of water and dab it around a little bit just to get it to mix. Now what I'm doing here is just wipe. This is the coarse side of it I'm going to start with. Probably doesn't need it, but I'll do it anyway. I'll just go lightly with it, as light as possible. Don't want to get too much on there. Just want to spread it around sort of nice and evenly. A clean rag is always good to have on hand. Then we'll take some, actually we probably should, using a different part of the rag that we just wiped our fingers on, try and clear that stem of the valve of anything really, of any sort of debris that's going to scratch the walls in there. So here I'm just greasing or lubing up the stem with a bit of engine oil, and I'm just going to place my valve in its place. I don't know what the real word is, but yeah, so like you're starting a fire. You can hear it's really rough and gritty. That's part compound and part any little marks that are in there. What I'm doing is just doing that, and like at random stages I'm lifting up and turning 90 degrees and then putting it back down and then continuing on with my fire stick motion. You'll be able to hear the sound is a lot smoother now, and that's exactly what we want to hear. I'm going to take that out carefully, because if that falls off and the valve drops, it's probably going to shatter, so you might want to hold it over something that's not going to be a hard surface if it does fall, or even just take it off and do it properly, or pay someone to do it. But yeah, so I just wiped out the seat. Now I'm going to wipe the top of this off, and I'm going to run it through without any compound on it, and it sounds pretty smooth in there. But I'm going to, just for good measure, and to try and eliminate any of the damage I've done when I've come in with my rotary tool, which I did have a few little incidences, but nothing too crazy. I'm going to, that's probably too much. I'm going to go over it with the fine. You don't really need to get it up around there. I just have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so once again we'll wipe the stem down if you think it's necessary, which it probably is, and it's good practice, but then lube it up again, and yeah, same thing again. Okay, my lapping tool's obviously got a bit of something on it, which has created a loss of suction, so I'll clean both surfaces off and then try and reattach it. It sounds smooth, and it probably really is. I mean, that's a really fine paste, and it's definitely cutting that valve. Which is good. But I'm just going to wipe it all out, and firstly without any compound, just to see how smooth it sounds, and then I might, depending on how it sounds to me, I might run through again with the smooth compound and give it another little go. That sounds pretty good. I'm actually happy with that. So yeah, that's just what I'm doing. Probably watch the video I post a link to, just to get a better understanding of what the process really is. This is just how I'm going about it. You can do whatever you want to do. I might do an exhaust valve as well, just because. With the exhaust valve, it's exactly the same process. I could have put it on the smaller side, but I just did that and it kind of fell off. So the suction cup is overlapping the valve a tiny bit, but it's definitely holding a lot better than the smaller side. So I think I'm going to back the bigger side in this occasion. Again, we're going to start back up with the coarse grade. We're going to wipe on a clean part of the rag the stem. I probably I could use like 2 rags for this process. A clean rag obviously for the stem, and some filth one to clean up the seat and the valve, like the lower part. So that's ready. That valve goes straight in. That sounded awesome. Like that was exactly, from my ears anyway, exactly how the video that I'll be posting a link to sounded when he did his. So that's pretty cool. Now these are going back in the exact same spots, so I probably could check to see how well they sounded beforehand, and I think I will for the next one. But it can't hurt to reseat them. I mean, after all, I want there to be no leaks of any kind or anything like that. That would not be fun. Okay. The downside to this is having to flip over the compound container every time. I probably wouldn't have to if I went through and did all the coarse and then again with all the fine, but I'd rather do one at a time, just so I didn't get too far ahead of myself and forget something or something like that. I think the smooth in this case is just overkill. I think that it's still making a noise because both surfaces are still like perfectly smooth with the coarse stuff, and you're coming with the smooth and you're just putting rocks in between two already smooth surfaces, and that's the reason for all the noise. And there's probably no truth to that, but that's just what I'm feeling is the case, because it sounded perfect and now it's sounding like shit. But that's how I'm going to leave it anyway, and I'm just going to hope for the best. I could probably clean this out properly. I probably should. I might just get a rag with a bit of brake cleaner or a bit of degreaser or something to try and get most of that compound out. I just don't want it to get in the stem or into the combustion chamber when anything's happening. I mean, it's not a great deal of metal, but it's enough to create some trouble. There's still some noises, but I think that's just a little bit of compound left over. So I think once I give it a proper clean out, it'll be fine.